You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Thursday, the 9th of March. Cricket diplomacy takes centre stage as PM Modi hosts Australian counterpart in India. Hijab made mandatory for students in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, activist condemns move. And UN warns of aid cuts over Taliban crackdown on women's rights. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese, lent a touch of cricket diplomacy in their partnership as they attended the fourth test between their countries in India's Ahmedabad city. Both leaders handed over the test caps to Indian and Australian team captains and took a lap around the stadium, greeting the fans attending the test match. Sharing a selfie with PM Modi, Albanese said India and Australia are celebrating 75 years of friendship through cricket. Later in the day, he was accorded a ceremonial guard of honour on board India's indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant. Albanese is scheduled to hold talks with PM Modi on Friday as part of their annual summit to discuss areas of cooperation under the India-Australia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. India tore into Pakistan this week after its Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto-Zardari raked up the issue of Jammu Kashmir during a UN Security Council debate on women, peace and security. India's top envoy at the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, said it is unworthy to even respond to such malicious and false propaganda, which is baseless and politically motivated. India has repeatedly told Pakistan that the entire territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been and are and shall always be a part of India. The ties between the two nations have soured since 2019, when New Delhi abrogated the special status granted to the region. India blames Pakistan aids terrorists to infiltrate across border and spread unrest in Kashmir Valley, a charge Islamabad denies.
Let me dismiss the frivolous, baseless and politically motivated remarks made by the delegate of Pakistan regarding the Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. My delegation considers it unworthy to even respond to such malicious and false propaganda. Rather, our focus is where it shall always be, positive and forward-looking.
Supporters of Pakistan's opposition PTI chairman Imran Khan clashed with police in Lahore on Wednesday after the government imposed orders restricting public gathering for 7 days in the city ahead of a planned election campaign by Khan. PTI has claimed a supporter named Ali Bilal was killed during the clash, while several others were wounded. Provincial Caretaker Information Minister Amir Mir has claimed PTI supporters attacked the police when they were ordered to disperse, and in retaliation, the police used water cannons, tear gas and batons. At least 7 police personnel were also injured. Around 12 PTI workers have been arrested, while senior leaders, including Imran Khan, have been booked in case for attacking police. The former Premier has been demanding snap polls since he was ousted in a Parliament vote of confidence last year. His successor, Shehbaz Sharif, has rejected the demand and stated elections would be held as scheduled later this year.
क्योंकि मुझे अफसोस ये है कि ये जो करना चाहते हैं, ये सारा जो एक्शन ले रहे हैं, इसका मकसद क्या है कि किसी तरह ये इलेक्शन से निकलें। सारी कोशिश ये है कि कोई इंतशार फैले।
Moving on, a Taliban-like decree has been imposed in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, making hijab mandatory for female students and teachers. Move that activists say is aimed at further oppression of the masses.
Locals and activists have condemned the recent move by authorities in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to make hijab or headscarf worn by Muslim women mandatory for both students and teachers in co-educational institutions in the region. Reportedly, a notification has been issued that says action would be taken against the heads of the institutions if the order is violated. Kashmiri activist Amjad Ayub Mirza said while there is growing unrest over inflation, unjust taxes and food shortages, the stooge government is trying to control people in the occupied region with such decisions.
It will be the women of Pakistani-occupied Jammu Kashmir who are going to raise the flag of rebellion and independence and freedom from Pakistan. And now to control our women, they are using these type of gimmicks like hijab has become mandatory, so that the women feel even more oppressed and conditioned.
Activists have long claimed while Islamabad continues to ignore basic demands of the people with no development in sight, it however repeatedly uses religious sentiments to force its rule in the illegally occupied territories.
UN envoy in Afghanistan Roza Otunbayeva warned on Wednesday that the Taliban crackdown on women's rights is likely to lead to a drop in aid and development funding in the country, where women fear being cut from public life as much as violent death. She said that the United Nations has made its single largest country aid appeal ever, asking for $4.6 billion in 2023 to deliver help in Afghanistan, where 2/3 of the population needs it to survive. But she asserted providing that assistance has been put at the risk by the Taliban administration, with bans on women attending high school and university, visiting parks and working for aid groups. She claimed that Afghanistan under the Taliban remains the most repressive country in the world regarding women's rights, and it's difficult to understand how any government can govern against the needs of half of its population.
The moment when Afghanistan needs all of its human capital to recover from decades of war, half of the country's potential doctors, scientists, journalists, and politicians are shut in their homes, their dreams crushed, and their talents confiscated. Afghanistan under the Taliban remains the most repressive country in the world regarding women's rights.
Afghanistan economy has been plunged into a crisis that has wiped out jobs. Since the 2021 Taliban takeover, foreign governments have withdrawn development aid and frozen the country's central bank assets. Streets of the Sri Lankan capital Colombo were rocked by massive demonstrations this week as students protested against the police had entered university premises without permission. Police fired tear gas and sprayed water cannons to disperse the students on the second day of demonstrations on Wednesday. A student union leader claimed that police had attacked students in the University of Colombo library who had not been protesting. The police spokesperson acknowledged the same and issued an apology. On Tuesday, protests were held calling for local government elections to be held as scheduled and for the abolition of an anti-terrorist act and the executive presidency. They were also demanding the release of university student union leaders who they say have been arrested and detained unlawfully. There has been growing unrest in the island nation plagued by high inflation, a lack of foreign currency and a severe recession. Sikh devotees in India marked the annual festival of Hola Mohalla on Wednesday with a display of horse riding and traditional martial arts in northern Anandpur Sahib city. The festival celebrates the bravery of ancient Sikh warriors.
Thousands of people gathered at the Takht Sri Keshgarh Sahib, a famous Sikh shrine in India's northern Anandpur Sahib city, to witness ancient Sikh warfare Gatka in a ceremony to mark the annual festival of Hola Mohalla on Wednesday. The main attraction of the festival, which coincides with Holi, the Hindu festival of colors, was a display of horse riding, sword fighting and martial arts by Sikh warrior order Nihangs. The festival commemorates the transformation of the Sikh community into a martial fraternity by Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th spiritual leader of Sikhs.
बहुत बढ़िया माहौल है गुरु की नगरी में। बहुत इधर देख रहे हो आप कितना सिखों का क्राउड होता है। सबसे बड़ा हमारा सिखों का मेला होता है इधर आनंदपुर साहिब में।
Sikhs make up about 2% of India's nearly 1.4 billion population, but they have a majority in Punjab and a sizable population in capital New Delhi.
Well, that's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.